proposed accessory structure is highlighted here in green color in the back, and the proposed house is shown here in front of it. The site would be accessed by about a 225-foot panhandle that's currently gravel, as you'll see in the pictures here in a moment. Property is cleared for the construction of the home site, and the 1,564 square foot building that's proposed is 34 by 46 feet. The location is at the rear of the property. It would meet the rear setback for a principal structure of 40 feet, and would also meet the principal structure setback for the side yard of 15 feet. The applicant is seeking to build the accessory structure before the principal house structure to be able to store much, if not all, the equipment needed for construction, and to keep the equipment out of weather, out of sight, reducing the risk of theft, trespass, etc. Here's another view in this slide of the site plan. Just a little different orientation. You can see it. Put in here in the slide presentation the portions of the zoning resolution that are applicable for variances. I'm not going to necessarily read section 430, that is the section regarding variances. And sections 432 stipulates the Board of Zoning Appeals may further prescribe any conditions and safeguards deemed necessary if there's no approval on a case. And section 433, term of the variance, no order of the Board of Zoning Appeals granting variance shall be valid for a period longer than 12 months from the date of such order, unless the building permit or zoning approval is obtained within such a period, which is related to the one staff proposed modification there at the end, that in section 433. In terms of staff comments, section 434 of the zoning resolution, variances may be made to increase the maximum gross floor area, but generally not more than 25%. The current proposal is larger than that for the R1 residential lot, but the proposed changes to the zoning resolution that are currently underway that I passed out, it's pretty well in line with what's proposed. I don't know that had anything. I don't know if the applicant intentionally did that because those numbers were changed from the last couple of months when we were talking about it at the zoning commission. The lot is larger in size, nearly 1 acre. Generally 1 acre parcels allow for a little more flexibility for siting. The proposed accessory building would be situated over 400 feet from Shaler Road. The variances proposed do not appear to encourage or otherwise allow the establishment of uses not otherwise permitted in the district. In this case, the construction of the pole barn before the home would allow for a smoother building process, increase the safety, and help lessen the visual impact of the surrounding property. The proposed rear and side setbacks meet minimum distances, as I mentioned, for a principal structure in use, more so than the normal accessory structure where there's a principal use primary structure already in place. And the proposed structure doesn't appear to have any impact to light or air on the surrounding properties or runoff. In accordance with section 711 of the zoning resolution, the Board of Zoning Appeals will process it either into a motion to approve, modify, or deny the applicant's request for variance, which in this case involves allowing the construction of a 1,534 square foot accessory building. In terms of the recommended modification, I'll come back to that here in a moment. We do have a couple pictures. This is looking south from the existing gravel driveway from Shaler Road at the site. It's looking further back towards the actual building area, about where the house and the proposed accessory structure would be, more in this area, I think. This is looking south towards the rear, probably more in line with where that accessory structure is proposed. This is looking west in that area across the site, what's adjacent. This is looking from left to right, north to northeast. See what's adjacent to the property. And recommended modification, essentially, if the Board of Zoning Appeals would decide to approve the applicant's request, the modification worded a little differently in the staff report than what I put here in here, and they can either apply for both at the same time. Really, all that needs to happen is they have to start the construction on the house within the year. If they finish the accessory structure, they start the house, they will still have another year to complete construction, and they can still ask for a small extension if they need an extension. So they can roll it all into one permit, or they can literally come in here two different permits. Either one is fine. Are there any questions for me that I can answer?
I just had one, because that was one of my questions I had, the extension. If that doesn't happen, they extend it. You said a small extension?
Yes, so it's not, there's an allowance for an extension, but it doesn't acknowledge the time. It's in my experience, typically the extensions are generally small, and there's a good reason for them. But yes, and I had already communicated this to the applicant as well. The applicants in those cases need to communicate to staff before the permit expires that they need an extension and for what purpose, and try to get it in writing. And then in our case, like when we take action, we would put it in writing. Okay, we're going to give you an extension, and probably would indicate how long that is. You know, maybe it would be 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. It's not usually another year.
Okay, you just can't keep going back and back and back.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for that presentation of the case. It is not necessary, but if there is anyone here who wishes to speak in favor of this, you are welcome to do so at this time. If you'll do this for me, if you'll state your name and address for the record.
My name is Christopher Parton. Address is 9 Eagle Court, Amelia, Ohio.
Okay, raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and the whole truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So, just here to present, in favor of myself. So, the property that, for my family, 3 young girls, to get them into a bigger home, and to have our layout for the next 20-some years, So within doing the construction, what I've noticed is I have my equipment stored in another building. So every Saturday, because I work 50, 60 hours a week, I haul equipment over there, I do the work, then I haul it back and take it back. And it takes time, right, when you only have that one Saturday or Sunday. And my proposal for this is to be able to keep the equipment over there while I'm working on it. When the house is being built, I can also store housing materials that get dropped off but may not be touched to the following Monday or working business day. And it just keeps the materials and stuff safe. So that's all I needed to add to it.
Okay. The picture, the 3-door garage is that we have, is that,
That's what I would like to build, yes.
okay, pretty much
That is
exactly
what-
that.
That is what is in my mind to build, yep.
Great,
Yes.
great, good. That was all I had. Does anyone else have any questions or that?
Your gravel drive, is that going to stay gravel? Or?
That's all, it's just construction road for now, just to go back and forth on, no.
And the only other thing and I don't know if it's required at the county, that from your curb cut back, to, 25 feet or something, it's either blacktop or concrete or something, you see that? Yeah, you have to, you aware of that?
I know the first 25 foot it would be concrete.
Okay.
And then I also have heard, not factual, but up to 100 foot to be at least blacktop.
Yeah, and that's just so you don't, all the materials.
Absolutely.
And I mean, based on what I saw, and I went out there, I think you'll do exactly what it's in this packet. I think it'll look real good for you.
Yeah. That's all the work that's been done, be myself and my father, so.
Good,
Okay?
thank you.
All right.
I appreciate it.
All right.
I don't see anyone, but we'll ask the question. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Dad, you want to stir things up?
We're all good.
Yeah. All right, good, good. My dad would have stood up right away. Okay, great. Discussion of the board?
I don't have a problem with it.
I don't
have a
either.
problem either. Is there anyone who would be willing to make a motion then in favor?
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
Make a motion that we approve. I had to put my glasses back on.
all right.
Let's see,
It's on the second page,
how's that? Where's that at?
second page, down,
Under action required.
Action required, okay.
right here.
All right, I make a motion that we approve in accordance with section 711, including 711.1 of the zoning resolution. The Board of Zoning Appeals' role in this process is to enter a motion of approve. The variance in the case of number 4-23-A, consisting of allowing the construction of a 1,534 square foot accessory building before the construction of the principal structure within the R1 district, based on the evidence, testimony, and findings of fact.
I'd like to add the two modifications need to be in there. One, that the principal structure must be approved and started within 1 year, and that the principal structure, if not built by the expiration of the approval permit, then the accessory building must be removed from the property or an extension approved.
Thank you, thank you. So we have a motion to approve with a modification. Is there anyone to second?
I'll second it.
And Jane to second. All right, thank you.
The square footage is supposed to be 1,564. There was a typo on the.
64, not 34?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, got it.
which would be 64 square feet above the
64.
new proposed.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, yep, okay. That's great.
Roll call.
Roll call?
Mr. Walter,
Aye.
Mr. Jenkins,
Aye.
Mr. Kangaroo,
Aye.
Mr. McAdams,
Aye.
Mr. Ford.
Aye.
Have it.
Thank you, guys. Is there any other things to come before the board tonight at all?
So for administrative, I think everyone was aware prior to the meeting that Mr. Cloudy had taken a job elsewhere. So for the time being moving forward, I will handle all the Board of Zoning Appeals meetings. We are currently, the position is currently open. We have people applying, and the deadline the first deadline would be next week, and we'll see where things stand. We've had a pretty decent amount of people apply, but we'll wait and see what it looks like at the deadline. We'll start interviewing people, and I can tell you this, if we're not happy with who we're interviewing, we will re-advertise instead of hire somebody we're not happy with.
Yeah.
But been hiring people for about 20 years, and I've learned that if you don't hire someone you really like, then you're better off not hiring
Right.
anybody until you get the chance to find somebody you like.
I agree.
And saying that, so one of the way that the staff will communicate to the Board of Zoning Appeals will be different, because I'll be communicating with you. When we get a case, typically I will email you within a day or so, unless I'm out of the office, to let you know we have a case and here's your agenda. Because within that same time period, I'm starting to put together the legal ad and the letters, and it just makes sense to do all that at the same time. It's that way you know you're gonna have a meeting, you know what the cases are gonna be, at least, generally speaking. And then the staff reports will come to you generally no later than 10 days ahead of time. If you have an email, I'll email them to you, and it will also deliver the hard copies to you as well. And at the same time that you receive them, they are also gonna be posted online. They're under planning and zoning, there's an upcoming zoning link, and I've been posting everything on there. So the same packet that you were getting is also gonna be on the internet, because at the same time, the neighbors are starting to ask, what's your report, it's all there for everybody, and I find that being transparent for everybody makes the whole process a whole lot easier. So hopefully we'll get whatever maybe bugs there might have been worked out. If there's anything else that needs to be worked out, I would appreciate it if you just, talk to me, let me know. Give me your suggestions, or, fire away at whatever you think that we need to do different. Other than that, I will say I did press for a long time for us to have that group meeting that we talked about, and it was like herding cats to get the trustees on the same page as the other groups. So we just finally started to put together amendment proposals, and that's partly what I gave you here tonight. That these represent the third set of amendment proposals that we have sent to the trustees. These are all predominantly things that were on that list I put together about a year ago, with staff and some of the other people. The amendments that you see that I left here for you tonight, for both the accessory buildings and the chickens, were already being written by staff previously. They just, for whatever reason, they weren't forwarded to the boards yet. And so what I did is I took what we had in place, talked about it with the current staff, made some adjustments, started taking things to the zoning commission, and both of those ordinances went through the zoning commission, 2 different meetings to get them to where they're at now. So we've been working on those for about 3 months. I think no matter how they're gonna be drafted, there's gonna be some people that like most of it, but not necessarily all of it. If you have opinions on it or questions about it, I mean, the reason why I left them up there for you tonight is for you to address whatever you might have, which you can do tonight, or we can talk about them after the meeting if you wanna call or meet or go over anything else that we're working on.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we just had one, though, already, one question,
I did
right?
have one question as far as the designation in the current guidelines. The accessory structure is allowed in conjunction with a shed up to 120 square feet. So are the accessory structures also allowed in conjunction with that shed, or is the shed going to be considered one of the accessory structures? I think there's up to 3 accessory structures allowed.
Yeah, the sheds are accessory structures anyway, so
Yeah.
essentially what they're doing is they are rolling them in as accessory structures and proposing to strike that line since they're an accessory structure anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there is an allowance for there to be more square footages and a higher square footage and more structures potentially if one has a bigger piece of property. And that was debated, and generally, everybody was on the same page as far as the board members for that. We have a maximum square footage, 4,000 square feet. I did talk to the board members about the fact that, if we're not careful, somebody could start building an enormous building. And at 4,000 is the number that we came up with, which is still pretty high. But it's gonna take a pretty big piece of property for somebody to be able to put a 4,000 square foot building on. And then because of that, we also made the setbacks in a different area, depending upon how tall the building might be or how big the building might be, because you can't slap a 4,000 square foot building 5 feet against the property line because you can't maintain it with that scaffolding in that 5-foot area, and that's still pretty tight. So,
Good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, with no other things to come before the board, is there anyone who would like to make a motion for us to adjourn?
Make a motion.
We have a motion, a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Walker,
Aye.
Mr. Jenkins,
Aye.
Mr. Kangaroo,
Aye.
Mr. McAdams,
Aye.
Mr. Ford.
Aye, we are adjourned.